Yes. Yes, back again. I tell you, the dawn in the building. Don't mess around. I tell you, it's gonna be electric discussion tonight. Full loaded package. The dawn in the building. They call me the dawn. The dawn of sport entertainment. Oh, my dad called me Yemi Lori. What are you doing there? Oh my goodness. Mbappe is killing us. Too much money in the building. All right. This is Intercontinental Sport TV. Back again with another video on Monday. So many things to be discussed tonight. Wherever you're watching from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about tonight. It's going to be all kind of sports. But first, I have to welcome my great gentlemen, great women on this channel. I call them the ISTV crew. They are loaded. They are ready. Shaye's here. Away all the way from United Kingdom is also here. Don't mess around. Kuleo show the city. It's also standing. I tell you, the Iron Lady. I tell you, Margaret is also there. Robbie is also here. Without much, let's go. Let me welcome Shaye. Shaye, welcome. What's going on, bro? Talk to me.
Yeah, good evening, the Dawn. It's great to be on the show. We've had some interesting preseason action, and we've also had Mbappe giving us some prime entertainment. So I can't wait to get into all that in tonight's show.
All right, you're welcome once again. Let's do this once again. Let me welcome this great man too. Kunle, talk to me. How's you doing? Is it raining? Is it sunshine? What is going on in Loshodi? Kunle, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening to Dawn from this side. Yeah, it's chilly. Yeah, it's rain over the weekend, so the weather is cold. The weather is cool. I'm kind of down with the cold as well at the moment. So maybe my voice is not as.
Yeah, drink shepherd. Everything will be all right. All right, Kunle, right here, there. Okay, talk to me. What's going on, bro? You're welcome to the show. How you doing this morning, this evening, this afternoon, this evening? Good morning, good night. Okay, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, loud and clear. Good day.
You know what happened over the weekend? It's 2-0.
I mean, what happened? Nothing happened. The
preseason
game just happened. It's not a big deal. But big shout out to Shaye and Kule in the building. Big shout out to everyone. It's a pleasure to be on ISTV. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. That's it. Robbie, talk to me. You're live, Robbie. What's going on?
Well, good evening. Good evening to the guys in the house. Good evening to the Dawn. Shaye, good evening. The man that is always filling the code. Okay, how far now? Well, Kule, good evening to everybody. Well, I won't even go into the Mbappe saga or more or less the Arsenal United debacle. I just want you guys to know that the scorecard of Team Africa, that is for the first round of matches at this year's World Cup, is out. And of course, Nigeria still stands tall. So more or less, that is the reason why they call us the Giants of Africa. Nigeria is the only team that have been able to avoid defeat in the first round of games. Zambia, South Africa, and Morocco, well, they all failed their first test abysmally. And of course, we're looking to see what round 2 holds for. So on that note, I say good evening and let us get started.
All right, that is it. Let's go on onto the show. It is what it is. Splash a like on the video wherever you're watching from. I tell you, this is it. This is the place. You have the vibes. You have everything to be discussed about sport. Without again saying they call me the Dawn. Let me welcome this woman, the only woman in our crew right now, Margaret. Margaret, talk to me. Do you remember Manchester 2? Arsenal Neil, talk to me. How are you feeling this day?
Oh my God, the Dawn!
I know Opa will come and defend that. He will say it's preseason. Is this? Is that?
I'm sure it should have been the other way. It should have been the other way around. If United had lost, by now Opa would have said, in one match we beat you people like twice. So at least that feeling. It's not like, yes, it's preseason, but at least we get to enjoy the match and we play with the top club, so they call themselves. So it's actually cool that at the end of the day, United came out top as usual. United had to show Arsenal, forget about what you did last season. We're always ahead of you. You have to know where you belong. Good evening, the Dawn. Good evening, guys in the studio.
All right, you're welcome.
Evening right now here in Nigeria. And then with the old news of big money flying everywhere, Saudi's money. I beg
you. I tell you. All right, let's do this. Let's see what we got for us today. Let's see what we got working with today. So viewers, sit back. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Let's start discussing where we're going to start from, Sheye. Could we start from Mbappe? Let's look at the paper top we have today. Treble winning Man City can improve, says Guardiola. Pochettino hails Jackson. Michael Jackson, what's it called? Oh, Jackson as Chelsea beat
Jackson.
Oh, sorry. All right, 4-3. The match ended that Chelsea beat Brighton 4-3, and they are all happy as if they are well. We'll discuss that, and also Manchester United beat seriously serious massacre to Arsenal 2 times. They were beaten on Saturday. What they said was a friendly, but I tell you, it's more than a friendly. I tell you, and also we are going to talk about Mbappe. Huge money. Is he going to go? We are going to discuss that as well. Also, Arteta saying Rice, Odegaard, Havertz positives, but a lot to improve overall. I know by the special grace of God, what they mean by that. What Arteta is saying that Rice, Odegaard, and Havertz, they will do something. Well, I don't know. Okwe will know more than me. And also, I tell you, the GOAT arrives in Miami with a banger. What a goal. What a goal. And tell you, there's a lot to discuss. But let's start from Mbappe. Sheye, talk to me. What do you feel about it? Can Mbappe truly go? Is this a joke?
Well, to be honest, if I were in Mbappe's shoes, I would go. Because the money we're actually seeing, staggering numbers regarding what Al Hilal are actually offering. And we've seen several reports that it seems we've confirmed that PSG have left him out of their tour, their preseason tour. Yeah. And according to reports, they are leaning towards even leaving him out of the squad for the entire season. Yeah. To be fair, I don't see how that is possible, and we've seen reports that the players' union in France might actually stand up to PSG and stand up for Mbappe if that happens. But the thing is, PSG do not want to lose Mbappe on a free transfer, and it seems he has no intention of renewing at PSG. So it seems they are going to be forced into selling him this summer, and miraculously, the bid from one of the Saudi clubs has come forth. I see this as unethical, to be honest, because one, the numbers are really high for a player with 1 year left on his contract. That's one, and two, knowing full, it seems from what I've read today that it's going to be a 1-year deal. It seems weird and strange to sign a player for that much on just a 1-year deal. So it looks really fishy to me. But I strongly sense that given PSG's leaning towards not letting him go on a free transfer, they are going to accept that bid, but it's up to Mbappe to either reject or accept the bid from the Saudi club.
Well, Kunle, Well, you have to talk about this Mbappe saga. In fact, everybody has a lot to say about that. So let me start with Kunle. What's your? It's getting serious in Saudi. Oh. I mean, it's like football is twisting to that side right now. And does it mean all this European Cup one day will just be like nothing, nothing? What do you think?
Um, See, let me point something out though. Yeah. What Saudi Arabia is doing is okay. We should try to remember that there was actually a time when, because when I just used to laugh at people who come and say, "Oh, that what they are doing it is unethical and all." But I hope we remember that there was a time where the likes of Juventus, the likes
Mm,
of AC Milan, the likes of Real Madrid, the likes of Barcelona were buying players for crazy money as at that time. Like now, look at when Juventus bought for 32 million in 2001. That was big money. Look at the
yeah,
amount Real Madrid to spend on Zinedine Zidane. That was big money at that. Even Manchester United isn't excluded because you could see that time they were breaking world records, signing Rio Ferdinand for 20 something million, which was big money for a defender when he bought him from Leeds United. Right?
yeah,
There was a time when Fernando Torres was a world record, was a British record, 50
yeah.
million.
50
You
million.
know? So people coming for Saudi, I just laugh. Okay, football is about money. Now, maybe these European clubs do not have money like before. It is evident for a club like Madrid, Barca, or the Italian clubs. They are not as strong financially as they were. So now it has now come to this stage where you just have, where Saudi Arabia has a whole lot of money. See, the amount of money Saudi Arabia has generated from oil revenue is that is why they have that PIF.
Hmm.
And if you see the amount of what uh, investment that the PAIF have made all over the world. I mean, this company they have stocks in places like Google, Apple, the biggest companies in the world,
Yeah,
right? So it's not surprising, okay, that they actually have the power, they have the muscle more than any club in the world to attract these players. Now, if they are going to sign Mbappe for 300 and something million for a 1 year, trust me, I want to believe that they can recoup that money in 1 year, or I don't know how it's going to happen. Or I don't know
hmm.
what the business strategy is. It's weird. But for me though, my own problem is I don't really understand what Mbappe stands for here
I
because
don't really know.
um because I don't seem to understand why you are, and also I don't understand PSG as well because this desperation of not wanting to lose him on a free, I don't seem to understand. For left to me, not just be like a Robert Lewandowski when okay, Dortmund didn't even want to sell him. They said they would prefer to let Kylian Mbappe goes now. I'm the season is can be over because who are you going to buy to replace him? Who is that big? You will say maybe Harry Kane and all of that. But please, what if Harry Kane is not? What if Harry Kane is actually not interested in club? It's possible. We don't know. Or who else is the other top striker that is there that you want to buy? So it's really not making sense to me because I think Mbappe actually wants to stay. It's not like Mbappe wants to leave.
Hmm.
Mbappe is simply saying, "I am not signing a new contract." So I think Mbappe is actually ready to stay for that one next season, and then he knows he's walking away free. So I think the real problem is PSG and the
Hmm.
desperation they want because it's really getting silly.
Yeah.
Um, and if Kylian Mbappe goes to Saudi Arabia, at what gain? Okay, Cheye said something about he might use 1 year there, then he would go to Real Madrid or something.
Yeah.
I still feel it's absurd. And if all of this is just to get him out so that he can, I'm sorry, as much as we know he's a celebrated player and all of that, I feel all this drama is going to like kind of like paint his image a bit because these are not the kind of things you should be seeing from top athletes where they just throw tantrums and Just it's not for me. It's not ideal for the kind of image he has because there are other people looking up to him, younger players who are in the, teenage years, looking at what he has achieved. So for all this back and forth to be happening, I'm sorry. I think it's not pretty, but I really don't know where it's going, but it's not pretty at all.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Kunle, for that. In fact, they've started bantering you, Kunle. Secondly, you don't understand. You don't seem to understand. Losing him on a front is going to be a disaster. I don't know how shall you mean by that disaster. Also, Okwe, do you want to say something about Mbappe? I heard sometimes ago, not too long, that Arsenal are even bidding for Mbappe. How true is that? Talk to me, Okwe. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Don. It's a pleasure to be on ISTV once again. I mean, let me just start by saying it's a joke, and that's just a joke. Arsenal being interested in Kylian Mbappe, and I must say that there's a sector of Arsenal fans who always marvel me, by their desires and things that they want. But on a serious note, honestly, it would be bad business for PSG if they let Kylian Mbappe go on a free transfer to one of their continental rivals. It's just bad business coming from that angle.
Absolutely.
Mbappe obviously is estimated at least 200 million pounds. Why would you want 200 million pounds to get out of your grasp just like that? And Mbappe being at PSG is the reason why his value is at that level. I mean, they purchased him from AS Monaco in 2017 for 120 million pounds. At that point in time, he was the most expensive teenager in the world, before Atletico then bought Joao Felix from Benfica the following year. So, look, PSG do deserve to get some money off Mbappe. And but you know what? It's quite funny because PSG is the same club that has empowered him to have this sort of attitude, and now it has come to bite them back. That 3-year contract extension that he did sign came with a lot of ridiculous clauses for a young chap at that age. And now, he had his personal ambition. It's quite clear that he has had an agreement with Florentino Perez to come to Real Madrid next summer for free. I believe one of the major reasons why he remained at PSG was because the president of France was involved in the negotiations, because they wanted him to be involved to probably win the last World Cup. Sadly, they didn't win that. And now he's looking forward to the next adventure in his career. And it just makes sense. The number 9 is waiting for him there at Real Madrid. I mean, what else? But the money that these Qataris, they've offered Mbappe is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what to make it worse? The contract offer is tailored to his expectation. For just 1 year, 700 million pounds. By the end of that calendar year, for when that contract expires, Kylian Mbappe will become a billionaire. And then he gets to live on a free and go to Real Madrid. In Sheye's words, if I were Mbappe, I would take that contract. It's as simple as that.
All right, Margaret, what's your thought about this? What do you think about this saga of Mbappe? Margaret, can you hear me loud and clear? I lost Margaret there. Robbie, about Mbappe. Robbie, can you come inside? Let's. Yeah. Margaret, let me hear you. What do you think about this?
All right. For me, I feel that Mbappe should go. He should go. If the Saudis, if they come calling, actually, he should sign for them. I don't think there is any. Okay, let me put it this way. It's actually not wrong for a player to say, I'm not signing a new contract, but I am staying. Maybe probably because of the loyalty, because of the love, or to not to feel as if he's paying the club back. But he decided, okay, I'm not extending contract, but I will stay and play for another season, for this season. Then thereafter, I will go on a free transfer. Or every player, they have that right. Now let's look at the case of Victor Osimhen. He has already told his club that he wants his release clause to be around 110 million pounds, something around like that. But the club insists on putting it around 170 something million pounds. He said no.
his ambition is always to play in the Premier League. So he doesn't want the high fee to be one of the obstacles for any club coming to him. And so I don't know if they were able to resolve that particular matter. So the same thing now come to Kylian Mbappe. He has the right. If he said, I am not signing, PSG should let him go. I mean, should let it be that way. And moreover, I feel they have recovered the 120 million pounds that they got from Kylian Mbappe all these years. They have recovered it through ticket sales, just shirt sales, and whatever titles and every other thing they have. So they should let him go. And for me, if the Saudi come, Kylian should go. And since it's something that is staying for just a year, then he can go for Madrid for free. I think it's a huge, it's something new, because when we look at football now isn't about players putting up that passion first, but it's money. Yeah. Money comes first, because that's the business of football. Every club now just wants to do business. So I think the players also, they have to also do business and gather money, enough money. So with him going to Saudi Arabia, it will also be a gain also to PSG. Yeah. I think he should just go and then go to Real Madrid next year.
Wow! Everybody like money. I'm sure Robbie doesn't even. Robbie will stay. Robbie will say otherwise. Robbie, talk to me. How do you feel?
Well, I am so happy. I am so happy that you already read my mind. I was going to say otherwise. Let me actually start this conversation looking at this whole issue from a very different angle. And there's a saying that when you encourage bad behavior, it more or less takes you down the rabbit hole, where you more or less have to pay a very steep price to set the balance as it should be again. Let us rewind a couple of years ago. This young man came out and said he wanted to leave the club. Now, the issue with money, the issue with using money to tie people is that once you use, it's just more or less like for someone like me I watch a lot of movies. When a vampire tests blood, it tells you that vampire will not stop. It will always go back to look for blood to satisfy its taste or desires. Now, you have done good money in front of a player as an incentive for that player to stay at your club. You have to dangle more money. And of course, when that player comes back and tell you that I don't like the color of your money, I more or less want to go somewhere else, or I think I like the color of the money on the other side of the river, there is a problem. When he said he wanted to leave PSG should have let him go. At that point in time, we all knew that Real Madrid was more or less almost begging for them to receive the money that they had brought forward for Kylian Mbappe. Now the player has come out. And let me add this quickly. The landscape of how world football is working right now is shifting in the advantages of football players across the world. Go back the 1970s, the 1980s. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot talk to a player until there's an agreement with the club first. That was how football was run in the 1970s and in the 1980s when it comes to transfer. But right now, you can corner a player in the club. You can corner a player in the golf course. You can corner a player at a wedding and tell him, I would like to sign you. And right there and then, the player will tell you, I think I like your idea. I think I like your numbers. Don't worry, I agree. Just go and meet my club on Monday and you guys will sort yourself out. But before, it does not happen. You have to sort the club out first before they give you permission to talk to the player. But that landscape has changed. And that is what a lot of players right now are leveraging on. And let us not also forget the fact that even football agents are also part of the problem we are having right now. Because once a player is sold for an astronomical amount of money, the agent too smiles to the bank with his commission in his pocket. So for PSG, they more or less put themselves in this particular position. When the man came out a couple of seasons ago saying he wanted to go, they should have let him go. And like Kule rightly said, clubs have lost players for free and they did not die. United lost Pogba 2 times for free. United is still standing till today. Yes, the money is a big money, but the truth is, like I will always say, if you can take it on your chin, you can survive. Yes, it is going to be a bad business for them, but PSG will not die today. They won't die tomorrow. Yes, it might be a very, very bad stain on their outfit, on their name, they will not die. So at this point in time, they are more or less the architect of their own problems. Al Hilal has dropped. Al Hilal has come out to say they want this player. Well, it is left for Kylian Mbappe first and foremost. Regardless of if PSG wants the money or not, Mbappe has to agree to go to Saudi Arabia and play there first. Hence why I said the balance is shifting to the players.
Yeah.
So even if Al Hilal sends the money to PSG and PSG says, "Hello, Al Hilal, we have seen the alert," and Mbappe says he's not going, they will return that money and nothing will happen. So Mbappe has to agree to going to Saudi Arabia to enjoy football there for the next 1 year before he gets his wish and goes to Real Madrid. But as it is, I think the whole thing is just a mess. The whole thing is a mess. And at the end of the day, I think it's just going to leave a bad taste in the mouth of everybody involved, including Mbappe himself.
All right. Let me quickly, Kule, I want to ask you something, Kule.
There is an update.
Kule.
Oh, okay. There's even an update.
All right, go for it.
I just wanted to give an update that PSG have accepted Al Hilal's offer.
Wait.
They have accepted.
Now I'm confused here, right?
Yeah, they submitted it.
Yeah.
No, they submitted it first.
Yeah.
Now PSG have accepted.
All right. I want to
as
ask
the player accepted.
That's where I'm going now.
Back to the player now.
Now,
they will not permit the player now.
Okay,
They will go and meet Mbappe now.
Okay, Kunle.
Yes, sir.
My question is this now. Let's say everybody has accepted. What if this guy, Mbappe, doesn't accept or he doesn't want to go? What happens? I want to know. Explain to me.
And that's why I said I think at the end of the day, PSG will only have themselves to blame, because you really cannot force a player out per se. The only way you can force a player out is if you go to the extreme measure of terminating his contract. And I think PSG, I think really, and like I've said, I think PSG are the ones getting themselves. What Sheye said, he says losing him for free and all. I want to believe PSG have made so much money over Kylian Mbappe that even if he leaves, they will still make money. Let me point out, Robbie made mention of Paul Pogba. Do you know that even as Paul Pogba has left, Paul Pogba is still one of the highest selling shirts in Manchester United. His shirt is still selling. So that means Manchester United is still making money off Pogba's name. PSG will make money off Mbappe's name, even if he leaves, because of what he has achieved. So I don't seem to understand. Mbappe has simply said, I am not renewing my contract. So Mbappe actually wants to see out the 1 year that he's left. And he goes to Real Madrid. And, the funny thing is, you never can tell what will happen in the next few years. Maybe PSG, he might actually want to come back to PSG in another maybe 2-3 years' time, of which he will just be 27 years old. You never can tell what will happen in Madrid. And, and if he says he wants to come back to Paris, I want to believe PSG should be able to, welcome him with open arms. So I don't seem to understand the way PSG is thinking, because they've made money off this guy. So you that want to get money. Okay, among the European clubs, which European club is going to be saying they want to pay over 100 million, 150? Certainly not Real Madrid, because they spent almost 100 million getting Jude Bellingham, right? So the Real Madrid, we are now left with the Premier League clubs. But then you ask yourself, does Manchester United appeal to Mbappe? Does Chelsea appeal to Mbappe? Does Arsenal or Liverpool or City so who is actually going to sign? And then when you look at the fact that these clubs have already signed players, you ask yourself, is there still money to actually sign this guy? And how much are PSG willing to actually take to sell this guy? Because if you are selling Mbappe for less than 100 million, I'm sorry, I see it as a loss. That's why I say for me, it's better to take him for him, because if imagine you sell him for 80 million now, for me, it is better that you let him see out his contract, make enough money from that final year of his contract, and let him go. Honestly, so if at the end of the day, Al Hilal if at the end of the day Mbappe says he's not going to Saudi Arabia, PSG have serious problem in their hands. Because look at it now, they didn't take him for preseason. They've gone to Japan. He's not in the preseason squad. So at the end of the day, I think it will just come back to bite. And this kind of thing should not be happening because they just have a new manager in Luis Enrique. The man is supposed to be setting up his squad, ahead of the new season so that they can click and, maybe probably this time do better in the Champions League. So this should be the list of things that should be happening to PSG. And I think they are not handling it very well. And I think it will just come back to bite them if Mbappe says he's not going to Saudi Arabia.
Come on, that's it.
Didon.
Yeah.
Didon.
Yeah.
Please, can I tip in something about still this or Mbappe
All right,
something?
quickly. All right, quickly, because
I
we
feel
want to
that
go to another topic. All right, go
Madrid
ahead.
will actually there will be problem when it goes to Madrid. Reason being that he's going to Saudi. Let's assume he goes to Saudi Arabia and he's being paid 700 million pounds per year without tax. Now he's going to a Real Madrid. We know in Spain when it comes to tax, we know how huge it is over there. And then if the normal maybe the salary or the wages they actually had in mind of paying Mbappe, it will be higher now because Mbappe will not want to, after earning 700 million a year, and want to go and earn something less than that. That's also a problem for Real Madrid. So I don't know probably how they will work, how they will face. I mean, I don't know what will come out of that. But a thought just came to my mind that what if this guy is going to Madrid and then he tells Madrid, I am not going to earn lesser than 700 million pounds a year, or I am not going to earn something lesser than what you had to offer me. He has seen money already. So there's going to be a problem.
There's going to be a problem. All right, let's quickly move on to something else. Over the weekend, a lot of events happened, but we first of all want to slice this particular topic. The goats himself arrived in Miami with a bang. Okwe, did you watch the game?
I watched the game live. He's not. Let me just state the fact that he's not my goat. Okay, but I watched the game because I'm a big fan of David Beckham. I'm a big fan of the investment being made at Inter Miami, and I honestly wanted to see what shape Messi was in. I wanted to know if Messi was taking this challenge seriously. I wanted to know if he still wanted to compete. And my Messi he hasn't looked in better shape in recent years. He looks very focused. But nevertheless, big kudos to Sergio Busquets as well. He played a very, very good game. And I think there should be an upward trajectory from here for Inter Miami because previously they had a very, very terrible 2022-23 season. And hopefully the new season will be much better for them. I mean, it just felt like it was written in stars, perfectly scripted. Messi comes on halftime, takes the captain armband, scores a last-minute goal. So hopefully the forthcoming season for Inter Miami will be much better. Sergio Busquets is there now. Jordi Alba has joined. Rumor has it that Sergio Ramos and might join as well, and even Luis Suarez. Apparently, Inter Miami is working hard to try and get Luis Suarez out of his contracts with Gremio, and Luis Suarez apparently is very much interested, and he's even willing to pay Gremio part of the wages he has received over the last 6 months. But that's just speculation for now. Time will tell which other big players will join Lionel Messi for a renaissance at Inter Miami.
All right. Also, another game happened. That's Manchester United versus what's the name? Margaret, can you remember the name of the club? Sorry, quick one.
Oh, the King of London.
The King. The King of London. Thank you so much.
Don't be careful. Be very careful, Margaret.
All right.
Be careful.
The match ended 2-0 and also extra time. The penalty shootout. We also beat them after Vieira cleared the ball over the bar or something that happened. So we won the penalty. We beat them 2 times. Okay, is there time for you to start panicking for the next season? Is there anything to panic about?
Didon, honestly, one thing I love about you is your sense of humor. You never cease to amaze me. There's no need to panic, really. There's no need to panic. It was a good outing in Washington, D.C. Very good game between, two of England's most historic clubs. And I think for the first time post Ferguson leaving football, I think we finally have that rivalry back between United and Arsenal.
Yes, on Arsenal.
You know, it has always been a heated rivalry over the years. We've had so many fantastic games, but then, you know, for a good period of years, it just seemed to be United dominating. And then in the last 5 years, you know, Arsenal have come back into it. But for the first time in a decade or so, I can say that United and Arsenal have rebirthed that famous rivalry that we all love. But, you know, going into the game for me, you know, Arsenal are trying new things. We've got new players, new quality players who have been added to the squad. There's no way you just expect them to click overnight. Most importantly, the positions those players occupy are very, very integral to the way Arsenal plays. You know, we love to play with inverted fullbacks. Timber played in that position. Tomiyasu, who hasn't played up to 60 minutes of football in over 1 year as well, he played, as far as I'm concerned, he did well for me. The goals that Arsenal conceded, don't get me wrong, kudos to United for getting the victory. But you see those goals that United scored were down to individual errors. The first goal by Bruno Fernandes, fantastic shot with his weak foot, but Aaron Ramsdale should be doing much better. It's as simple as that. The goal that Jadon Sancho scored, fantastic goal by Sancho. I'm happy for him personally. I'm a very, very big fan of Jadon Sancho. I feel like, you know, he has struggled with his time at United, but I believe Ten Hag has renewed his drive and his passion for football. And that false nine position seems to be doing very well for Sancho so far this preseason. And he basically just latched onto a very, very woeful Lago in my Nigerian term. That's what I'll call it. You know, Gabriel miskicked the ball, basically mistimed the trajectory of the ball, and he miskicked it. Jadon Sancho, being the fantastic poacher that he is, took advantage of that and left him for dust, you know, on the pitch. And Sancho dispatched the ball very well. But looking at other areas on the pitch, Declan Rice, he found it difficult to keep up with the intensity of the game because from the back, you know, the spine of the team was basically still there, apart from Partey, who was on the bench. But Declan Rice found it difficult to help with progression of the ball going forward. A lot of times when Rice had the ball, he was probably too nervous, or he wasn't even sure of where some of his forward teammates were, and then he makes a pass sideways, he makes a pass to the back, and that's not what the person that occupies that position for Arsenal, that's not what the person does. Once you get the ball in that position, it is progression henceforth. So it will take time. So that's what Arteta meant. When they play 55 times together, it will be much better. Just talking about Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Martin Odegaard, you can see that Arteta is trying to progress from having two holding midfielders or having two box-to-box midfielders in the middle instead of a double pivot, now having a single pivot and two players who are playmakers in that position. Havertz tried his best, but he's not back there where he can play in that position effectively. I mean, I singled out other players like Nketiah. Nketiah, I love his hard work, but simply he's not the type of striker fit for the type of football that Arsenal play. As far as I'm concerned, going into the season, if Folarin Balogun is not going to be guaranteed first team football, I say sell both Nketiah and Balogun, and have Leandro Trossard as your second option up front, because Trossard can play in that false nine position. You've got Havertz who can also play through the middle. You've got Smith Rowe who can play in a false nine position, because what Gabriel Jesus does for the system of football that Arsenal plays is absolutely fantastic. All that we are lacking is a lethal goal scorer up front. And what we've seen Bukayo Saka come into those shoes this year in particular for Arsenal, for England. But then again, it's always nice when you have an out-and-out striker. I have no worries. Everyone is getting into fitness. I saw different variations in terms of players playing in different positions. Thomas Partey played in two positions in that game, even coming in the second half. Same thing with Ben White. Smith Rowe and Trossard played two different positions coming in the second half. Look, I'm very happy. It's a good time to be an Arsenal fan. There is time. This is time for Arteta to mix, chop, and try all different things. But you see, come the first game of the season, it's not experiments. Get it right, get it straight. If some of the variations they tried at preseason is not working, I think it's just very simple to just place Declan Rice in that left side of the midfield position to take over Xhaka's position exactly. Continue with that, and then in due time, you continue chopping and changing. So I have got no worries. Congratulations to United for having that.
Thank you so much for that.
Don't worry, when they make, we
Thank you, okay. Thank you. I hope you congratulate United too at the beginning of the season or by the
I
end of the
definitely
season also.
be doing that.
And
Enjoy
mind you,
this
please,
fast.
All
don't
right.
be fan of
Yeah,
Sancho. He's not
me, I have,
available.
Okay.
me, I have worry for Arsenal. I have a bit of worry for Arsenal, though.
Oh, you have a word for us now, Kunle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
You know, Ope, you know, why I said I have a bit of a worry for Arsenal is, in as much as I kind of really believe in what Arteta is doing, but I just feel that maybe there are just some times where I think Arsenal are just prone to errors
Mm,
that just takes them, that just probably makes everything that Arteta is doing, just put it into the dustbin. Like you already said, those goals that were conceded were out of errors. And it made me remember the first game against that was played at Old Trafford that United won 3-1. Arsenal, I don't understand. Like, I believe that with where Arteta, because it's not as if maybe United were dominant, like as if maybe they had possession, and it was just simply moments where United switched off. Sorry, Arsenal switched off, and they capitalized it. Look at how Sancho. When I saw Sancho running, I said, with the way this guy is running, the way he was. When I saw he was approaching the box, I said, I won't be surprised if this goes, because we know Sancho. Once Sancho is a free man, and he finds himself in a good position, it
yeah,
is going to go in. So the thing is, you don't give players like Sancho so much room and space to run, where it will just be him against the goalkeeper, because he's going to put it. So my own problem is, why are Arsenal still making this kind of mistake? Well, you can say maybe they are rusty and all, but I am just having some fears that they shouldn't be making this kind of mistakes, because if they do, I think that is what will come back and haunt them, because remember, we're supposed to see them more competitive this time around, right? And if they are still doing that, I can understand they've signed in players and all, but my point is, these things should not be happening. You understand? It
Yeah,
shouldn't be
Kule, I
happening.
100% agree with you. And I will say that it's left to Mikel Arteta to know when to draw the line. You know, when a father decides to discipline a child, it's either by the rod or by his word. So he needs to know when not to spare the rod. Because I take a look at some of these players who made these mistakes, talking about Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale has become so comfortable. I mean, at the age of 23, has become the starting keeper for Arsenal, one of the biggest clubs in the world, not just in England. He has also gotten multiple
Oh,
England call-ups.
yeah.
I think he needs to be put on his feet. I think McTominay is someone who has improved over time with the ball at his feet. And we saw during the CONCACAF, even before CONCACAF, me watching him with the Colorado Rapids, he's someone who's a fantastic penalty saver. So I really don't mind if sometimes, Ramsdale is benched and Matona is put between the sticks. That provides a bit of competition, in my own opinion. For Gabriel, right now we've got a brilliant player in Jakub Kiwo, who can even play in multiple positions, as we saw against Nuremberg. He played the Zinchenko position very, very well. So, I mean, when players like that begin to make consistent mistakes, I believe they should be put to the bench to know that, look, you are not indispensable. If you don't produce the standard week in, week out, there are other
yeah,
players in the team who are hungry and ready to get into the team and give us what we want. That is the ruthless aggression that Pep has. And that is why every
yeah.
single time any player that comes onto the pitch from Manchester City gives 110%. You should have seen Calvin Phillips in their first preseason game against that Japanese club on Sunday. He was giving his all, and that was just the first preseason game. But that's somebody who is ready to fight with Rodri
To
for a
fight
place
for
in
it.
that
Yeah,
team. I know he's not going to displace Rodri, but for a fact, you know that he's going to be giving Guardiola headaches. Jean Cancelo also put in a good performance, even already having a fallout with the coach. So I need Arteta to be ruthless when he needs to be. Don't just wait till a player becomes indisciplined off the pitch. What happens on the pitch is equally important. When your player doesn't give you exactly what you want, you need to spell the riot acts. I think bringing in Declan Rice will make Thomas Partey sit up and every other player in midfield as well. So drop Gabriel once in a while. drop Ramsdale once in a while, because what is then the purpose of the other players in the squad if you feel they cannot give the same effort or give the same quality that these players on the pitch do give, you know? So that's just what Arteta needs to do going forward.
All right. Kunle, Margaret, did you watch the match? Because there's some questions I want to ask you
Oh,
about Manchester United. You know, if you watch the match very well, you could see we up the game. The players are really ready. How do you think Manchester United should be looking at it this next season? What composure do you think we should be? And going forward into the next season, is there any players you think or the position you think Manchester you need to strengthen? To consider the fact that we don't even have a striker and we still beat Arsenal ruthlessly, you know. And so, what's your take on the game and also going into the next season with Manchester United?
well, thank you, Didon. And Didon, I just want to remind us that that was just a preseason. You know, I remember a few years ago, or either 2 3 years ago, United did so well in preseason, and then they ended up hopefully in the league when the competition started. So I actually don't really put too much hope on preseason. But those young lads, they prove that they can do something if the manager gives them that time. Okay, fine. The manager has gotten a goalkeeper, a sweeper, since Diger wasn't a sweeper, but he has gotten a good goalkeeper, a replacement for David De Gea, and Mason Mount is in. Okay, looking at, according to rumor, looking at this Atalanta's player, hopefully he comes in, and let's see what will happen. So by next season, I am actually having a high hope. I believe that I strongly believe that United will actually do well more. They want to do well more than next season. I just pray that the whole takeover issue is solved before the league begins. Maybe by then the manager will then have a peace of mind, and then the kind of players he want. Because right now there are no funds to get a striker, and that is where number one challenge where United are having right now. Yes, they might have scored two fantastic goals against Arsenal, and those two goals came in not strikers, came in from two great players. But United need a support for Marcus Rashford, so that the whole burden of scoring goal will be lifted off him, and he will be able to concentrate.
Oh, I lost Margaret there. Kunle, what do you think about Manchester United going to the next season with the performance you watch against Arsenal?
Well, for me, uh, I would say that I think United is still not ready to play the way Ten Hag wants them to play, and that is like close to anything close to who he was at Ajax. I think United can still only play the best way they know how to play, which is on the counter attack, right? Um, and I think the players he has signed this season, Mason Mount and all, is actually to supplement that system. So for me, my own worry is, can United ever be that possession based, efficient
That is
team?
it. Yeah.
That is something close to City. I don't think so, because the crop of players we have, I think they are not built to do that. So I think Ten Hag has to ditch whatever philosophy he had or what he, and he has to keep trying to make these players efficient, trying to make them believe in themselves. And excuse me, I think it is good because you get performances. Look at Sancho now; he scored. That on its own will give him confidence. You understand? So I think United will more or less be playing much like how they played last season, because really, if Ten Hag wants to play the way he really wants to see many players in that team won't be there at all. They
Yes.
wouldn't be there. But it has to be slow and steady. And that's why I give credit to the man. Because it takes a very brilliant manager to ditch his philosophy
Mm.
and go with what the players understand. Pep Guardiola will never bring down his level to what the players want. He will enforce his philosophy on the players, whether he loses games or not. He makes
Yes.
and he's going to be aggressive with it. But I think for Manchester United, Ten Hag has seen that no, play to set up the team to the players' strengths, and I think that is why United were actually able to make the top four in a very convincing manner. And I think that is how it is going to be. So really, as long as the results are coming, anyhow we play, whether we were not convincing, we were not dominant, we didn't have possession. I don't think maybe all that matters. It's just the result and the 3 points. Because when you get the 3 points, it pushes you closer to the top four. And when you get the win in cup competitions, it gets you closer to the final to ultimately lift the trophy. So I think we'll just continue with the way we were playing last season.
All right. Sheye Midira, please tell us what's happening in Chelsea. They are buzzing all over the weekend. They won the Champions League again and never again. Sheye, talk to me. What's going on? You are pleased with your team performance going to the next season?
Not particularly. Of course,
I'm
against
talking
Wrexham,
about Chelsea, Chelsea FC. Chelsea FC. Yeah,
yes,
no.
I know.
All right, go ahead,
Um,
bro.
not particularly. In the first game against Wrexham, obviously they were able to thrash the popular side. I think they're in League Two now. But I feel against Brighton, we more or less saw that there are still levels below where they should be. Brighton controlled the game. You could tell that Brighton are more or less more coherent, more sophisticated in things they are trying to do. They were more coherent in their build up phase. They were able to bypass Chelsea's press fairly comfortably, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you could tell that Chelsea were struggling in that particular area of their game, being able to cope with Brighton's coherent pressing and integrated pressing. The game more or less opened up after Brighton's red card, and even then, they were still, in my opinion, quite comfortable. Fine, Chelsea were able to score 3 goals, but Brighton still were able to open up Chelsea um at certain periods, and they scored 2 goals because, in my opinion, if Chelsea had won that game 4-1, it would have been a fake result. So 4-3 was more or less a balanced and fairer reflection of what we actually saw. So I still feel they need to learn how to control games better. Of course, it was pleasing to see Kylo Modric score his
For the
first
goal.
goal. Of course, it
Yeah.
was non-competitive, but still, scoring a goal was quite pleasing to watch. And Nicholas Jackson is someone who, before he joined, I knew him as a threat in transition on the counter attack. But yeah, he's proven to be a decent, good link up player. He has been combining well with his teammates in 2 games that I've seen so far. So let's see if he can even play much better with his teammates. So um, so far so good. At least we've seen some desire and extra tenacity from the players. But I feel the midfield is still a big issue because they are more or less putting square pegs in round holes because Enzo is not a DM. Neither is Andre Santos, who has filled in there in 2 games so far in preseason. I feel he should be. He needs a natural defensive minded midfielder beside him. So they need to sort out that midfield because I feel that will be their most glaring weakness in the season if it's not sorted out.
All right. All right. Shay, thanks you. All right. I think Shay is done. Okay. The last one on our list today. Let's quickly look at the transfer gossip we have right here. Newcastle signed 38 winger Barnes from Leicester City, and also Spurs give Kane contract ultimatum, and also Fulham close to signing Wolves striker Jimenez, and also this guy is moving to Saudi. Maximin moves to Saudi, and also Everton also signed Villarreal winger Danjuma on loan Galatasaray will also be welcoming ex-Palace forward, that's Zaha as well. Manchester United fullback also joining Al Nazir in Saudi as well. PSG treatment to Mbappe criticized by the union. Whatever the
Yeah,
case may be.
one juicy topic we've not talked about
what's
is
the topic?
our very own Samuel Chukwueze. He's on his way to AC Milan. AC Milan is closing in on a deal with Villarreal to sign Samuel Chukwueze, and he was not in their preseason game yesterday. So he's currently on his way to seal the deal. It's been fantastic to see him in Italy. With the likes of Tomori and co.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Any other thing before we wrap up the show? Looking forward to this weekend. Oh, Women's World Cup. Robbie, anything for the Women's World Cup?
Well, like I said, the first round of games for African contingent they were completed today because Morocco, the last of the 4 teams representing Africa, played against Germany today. And I tell you, it was not even a schooling. It was a massacre, because Germany scored 6 goals in that game. Germany even scored a 7th goal that was in the 90th plus 60 minutes, but it was ruled out for offside. So it was more or less a lecturing, a bashing, a reprieval, more or less. What do you call it? I just use whatever adjective you have for Morocco today, and of course you can forgive them because this is their first major outing on the world biggest stage, talking about FIFA World Cup, and of course they will survive after today's massacre. South Africa yesterday South Africa lost against Sweden. They scored first, but they allowed the Swedes come into the game, and the Swedes ultimately were able to get a late goal in that game, and of course they ran out 2-1 winners in that one. Talk about Zambia. This was one country that defeated Germany in an international friendly leading into the World Cup, and they were schooled by Japan as well. 5-0 it ended in that particular game. Zambia also got a red card in that match. So after Nigeria, through Deborah Abiodun, that got the first red card of the African contingent, Zambia also are the second African country to end their game with 10 women. So for Nigeria, they are the only team that has not tasted defeat. That was a match they won of all the contingents from Africa. And of course, South Africa, the only team to have been able to score a goal at this World Cup. So we're going to reset the whole thing because second round of fixtures are set to come later on this week. So we're going to see if Team Africa will be able to get at least a better result than they did in the first round. Also, we're looking at the fact that can an African team, at least one of the 4 teams, make it into the round of 16. So on that note, that is more or less the update coming from the Women's World Cup.
That's right. All right. This is how far we can go. I want to say big thank you to you, Okwe. Thanks for showing up on this one.
It was a pleasure to done.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that's the last preseason for Arsenal.
No, we've got 3 more games coming up.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Till then, Okwe, thank you so much for joining us. This is how far we can go. All right. Okwe, thanks.
Always a pleasure to be on ISTV.
All right. Oh, Shaya, thanks for showing up on this one. Big up, bro.
Thanks, Don. Always a pleasure.
All right. Skunle, once again, thank you so much for joining us on this one.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Thanks a lot.
All right. Robbie, one love, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Margaret as well, too. Thanks for showing up on this one. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so much. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye. Please subscribe to our channel, smash the like on the video as you're watching this video. Anywhere you're watching from, this is Intercontinental Sport TV. They call me the Don of Sport Entertainment. So many content will be coming up on this session, on this channel. We are going to the next season. There'll be a lot of shows on this channel. We also be active on our Instagram pages, and also we also be going to be very more vocal also on our Twitter handle. So I tell you, it's going to be a lot of events coming up on this show. Please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join us, join the community. We're growing. And once again, before I go, also match going on at postgraduate students at University of Ife in Nigeria. Also, we are sponsoring that event. That's Intercontinental Sport TV. I want to shout out to this big man himself. He showed up at my home yesterday. Big Sam. That's Sam Clef. Thank you so much. All right. Also, King Dari as well. So, big up to everyone that's been helping us on this station. Background, irate. Big up to Baba T as well. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Before you shut down, please, you know what to do. Subscribe, smash the like on this video, and also share. Once again, they call me the Don, but my dad called me Yemi, and that's how far I can go. All right. At the same time, please be safe out there. Bye for now.